Good day everyone, I am Carmela and I'm from the 4th group, 6th reporter, and the topic assigned to me is all about useful decision-making techniques in case analysis. So, of course, as an introduction, why do we need to be a good decision maker? Well, a good or sound decision making is necessary for living life productively and efficiently. For us, HR practitioners, of course, we need to consider the organization in everything that we are doing. Every decision that we make will, of course, affect the organization directly. All of us are confronted with various decisions to make on a daily basis. Some are small or minor consequences, while others are huge and potentially life changing. So that's why we are going to study the useful decision making techniques in case analysis. Well, in this topic, there are three techniques mentioned to make better decisions. We need to possess these techniques, or we need to master these techniques to make better decisions in an organization or even in our daily lives can be applicable. So the first one is integrative thinking. The next one is asking rhetorical questions. The concept of asking rhetorical questions. Then the last one is the conflict inducing techniques. So before I start to discuss each of those techniques thoroughly, I will first give you an overview of that three. Okay? Well, integrative thinking is a technique that helps managers make better decisions through the resolution of competing demands on the resources, multiple contingencies, and diverse opportunities. While concept of asking rhetorical questions, these are questions that challenge conventional wisdom and may seem even odd or unusual, but often lead to valuable innovations. The last one is conflict inducing technique. This is an approach of decision making that involves the effective use of conflict as part of this decision making process. The first one is integrative thinking. This concept, you can find this concept in Roger L. Martin's book entitled The Opposable Mind: How Successful Leaders Win Through Integrative Thinking. Well, F. Scott Fitzgerald quoted that the test of a first-rate intelligence is the ability to hold two opposing ideas at the same time and still retain the ability to function. One should, for example, be able to see that things are hopeless yet be determined to make those otherwise. Why is it important to have integrative thinking? Well, first, what is integrative thinking? Integrative thinking is the ability to face constructively the tension of opposing ideas, and instead of choosing one at the expense of the other. As an integrative thinker, you will generate a creative resolution of the tension in the form of a new idea that contains element of the opposing ideas but is superior to each other. There are stages of integrative thinking, like a mental process when you are being an integrative thinker. The first stage is salience. In this stage, you consider all the ideas that is important or relevant to the problem so that you can generate a solution, right? That's the main objective. The second one is causality. Here you make a mental map of the relationship between the ideas, the features, how the various features are related or connected to one another. Third one is architecture. You created a mental map a while ago, right? Well, you will use this mental map to create a sequence of decisions that will lead to a specific outcome. Next is resolution. Make your decision. And if you are not yet satisfied with the decision that you ended up with, or the decision you came up with, you can go back to the cycle again or the stages again to create a new one that will satisfy or you think that will be more efficient for you and the organization. The next one is the concept of asking rhetorical questions. As I said a while ago, the concept of asking rhetorical questions are it challenges the conventional wisdom. And even though it seemed to be odd or unusual, it often leads to valuable innovations. Well, what is rhetorical question really is? The concept of rhetorical question is to address innovations in environmental sustainability. But of course, as time passes, rhetorical questions are believed to be a useful implications for major challenges faced by an organization. So this can address issues that ranges from the smallest to the widest ones. This can go from redesigning a single process or product to rethinking the whole business model. Then one must not discount the value of the approach in considering small matters. After all, the vast majority of people in a company don't have to mandate to rethink strategy. However, anyone in an organization can ask disruptive questions that profoundly change one aspect of a business. What makes this rhetorical is how deeply it challenges the conventional wisdom. A conventional wisdom is a generally accepted theory or belief. It means that this is the norm. This is what you're used to know. But when asking rhetorical question, you challenge it, and it also may come out with a new perspective that can be useful for the company. This practice forces you to interrogate the weak spots of your business and to look at a structure through the lens of an enemy, of a competitor. In this way, you'll know what are the competitors thinking about your brand. Rhetorical questions enable you to do same to your company or your brand. Next one is the conflict-inducing techniques. In the classroom as well as in the business world, you will frequently be analyzing cases or solving problems in groups. While the word conflict often has a negative connotation, for example, something that is rude, personal affairs, these conflicts shouldn't be seen that way as a negative thing because it can be very helpful in arriving at better solutions to cases. It can provide an effective means for new insights as well as for rigorously questioning and analyzing assumptions and strategic alternatives. In fact, if you don't have a take note, constructive conflict, you may get only consensus. When this happens, decisions tend to be based on compromises rather than collaboration. Conflict of ideas is very inevitable to a company, but it doesn't mean that you just have to pick. Just like what I told about integrative thinking, these three techniques are related to each other for useful decision making techniques. You need to use conflict as an as a way to arrive at better solutions. Okay? In your organizational behavior classes, you probably learned the concept of groupthink. Groupthink, a term coined by Irving Janis, in which After he conducted numerous studies on executive decision making, this is a condition in which group members strive to reach agreement on consensus without realizing or without realistically considering other viable alternatives. In effect, group norms bolster morale at the expense of critical thinking, and decision making is impaired. It means that in groupthink, you're striving to come up with an agreement because you have a negative connotation in conflict or disagreement without knowing that if you continue on throwing disagreements you put on debate, that's when you will come up with a better solution. Because if you prioritize that during collaborative meetings, you prioritize on reaching into an agreement, that will, yes, of course, increase morale, but at the expense of critical thinking. You are limiting yourself. You are limiting yourself to be a critical thinker, and your decision making skills will be impaired sooner or later. So, yeah, that is my report. I hope that it kind of helped in understanding this topic about useful decision making techniques. Thank you.